Hey Robert, let's recap this session. I have you here with the 8 iron in your warm-up, and the sequence, as we discussed, was reversed. We were attempting hip rotation before the lateral weight shift. And so watching on the way down, you may notice that you never get off of that trail foot until well after the contact. Here's the trail hip and thigh position. At address, we should be shifting away from that marker, going into impact, and we just never get space away from it until afterwards. So we need to work on flipping the sequence to get the lateral weight shift first and then the hip rotation. We started off with the drill just so the brain could get familiar with what it's like to hit the golf ball while you're completely stacked on this lead leg. Notice your upper body over the left foot. That's where we need it. So we set the weight over there to begin with. You took your backswing, keeping the weight over there to the lead leg, and shifting even more on the way down. We can get familiar with the contact from there and then also have the hip rotation. So we started off with this somewhat segmented swing. Once it was more familiar, then we moved into a fluid motion. And so noting the trail hip and thigh position again here, we would see that spacing improve as we were going into impact. We're actually moving away from it. You can see that trail foot beginning to disconnect from the ground earlier in the downswing. And then from there, we covered the arm rotation with that left wrist flexing. Now remember, with the arm rotation, it's from the elbows down. It's forearm supination and pronation, as opposed to the external or internal rotation that's stemming from the shoulders. So it's just from the forearms that are rotating. And then again, that left palm, your lead palm, will be bending inward towards the anterior forearm, that's your inner forearm, in a movement of flexion. And so that begins to turn the club face for us. And so you'll feel those knuckles orienting more towards the ground and then closer to you. And then that's where we're getting those dynamic lofts lowered. So that way, instead of being in the high 30s, we were in the high 20s. And that's where we started to see these very fluid, smooth swings generating carries over 130 yards. You actually reached 140 on your best one. And again, still working with the 8 iron here. Now notice the follow through and how that right palm is looking down towards the ground, as is the club face. So note that the rotation with the forearms is continuous. It doesn't just happen on the downswing to impact and stop. It continues into the follow through. So a lot of good reps with this. And then again, notice that lower body sequence also occurring in conjunction with it. Even a short swing like this, getting over 130 yards on the carry. So begin to scale this through the bag. Let me know if any questions come to mind, and we'll continue to work on this in a few weeks.